All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer on personal financial literacy, where we're going to look at mastering your money using a totally new AI driven approach. But, before we even get into the mechanics of it all, let's just be incredibly honest with each other for a second. We've all felt it, right? That universal knot in your stomach, that spike of sheer anxiety every single time you stare at a credit card statement and think, wait, how on earth did the balance get that high? Or, every time tax season rolls around and you just kind of hand your forms over to someone else because looking at them makes absolutely zero sense. If you've ever just nodded along pretending to understand what compound interest actually means, well, you are in exactly the right place. This course introduction actually hits on a really fundamental truth. You're not bad with money, you were never taught how it works. Seriously, I want you to let that sink in for a second. Because this isn't just some fluffy motivational poster to make you feel better, right? It's a fundamental fact. We walk around carrying all this shame, all this defensiveness about our financial confusion, and we treat it like it's this deep personal failure. But actually, scratch that. It's not a personal failure at all. It is a massive systemic educational gap.
Just look at this number, 20. Unless you happen to take a highly specific personal finance class in high school, nobody sat you down to explain this stuff. 20 states still don't even require a personal finance class for adults who graduated before 2020. I mean, think about that. That means millions of us were just shoved out into the real world, expected to navigate annual percentage rates, APRs, interest rates, and loan terms with absolutely zero foundation. Nobody explained how APR actively eats away at your paycheck. You were quite literally never taught how it works.
So that brings us to section one, the cost of confusion. Because, look, when you operate in the dark, you're relying entirely on guesswork. And unfortunately, the systems all around us, they're actually designed to profit immensely from that exact lack of knowledge. Now, the knowledge you get from this course isn't meant to get you a job or impress recruiters on LinkedIn. No one's going to hand you a big promotion just because you can finally explain the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. But what it will do is stop you from losing money you didn't have to lose. Financial literacy isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It acts as a critical shield. It's all about not getting screwed by systems that, frankly, exploit your confusion. Think about it. The car loan you signed, just because the monthly payment seemed fine without ever actually calculating the total cost. Or the payday loan a friend took out because they literally just didn't know what else to do. Let's look at how this panic actually manifests in our daily lives. You check an app and suddenly you're wondering, wait, why did my score drop? This perfectly simulates that rapid-fire anxiety of navigating the financial world on pure autopilot. You haven't missed a payment, you haven't done anything wrong, but suddenly this number that completely dictates your ability to buy a home or lease an apartment just takes a nosedive. When you don't know the rules of the game, every single change feels like a random, terrifying penalty. Or how about this one? You start a new job, HR hands you a stack of paperwork, and you look at it thinking, what is a W-4 actually asking me? So what do? You blind guess. You check a box, hope for the best, or maybe you just hand it off to someone else entirely. It's exactly like that 401k enrollment form that's so incredibly confusing, you just avoid contributing for 3 entire years. You end up leaving free money on the table simply because the paperwork was intimidating. We've all been there. And then, of course, there's budgeting. We all kind of think we know how to budget, right? But what happens when you actually have to categorize your life into fixed or variable expenses? Most people quickly realize that what they call a budget is actually just opening their banking app, checking their balance, and hoping they have enough to make it to Friday. That is not budgeting, guys. That's just surviving on hope. Minus 50. That right there is the hidden penalty of financial ignorance. Remember that credit score drop we just talked about? Well, you might think you understand credit right up until you learn that responsibly closing out your oldest, completely paid off credit card can unexpectedly tank your score by 50 points. Why? Because of a secret credit age ratio that you never even knew existed. You did what you thought was the responsible thing, and you got penalized for it, simply because you were missing one tiny piece of information. And honestly, this next one might make you genuinely angry. $50 a month at a 7% return over 30 years? We so often think investing is only for people who are already wealthy, right? But when you realize that just $50 a month becomes nearly $60,000 over 30 years, it's just mind-blowing. It's completely valid to feel frustrated or even angry when you realize the thousands of dollars you missed out on simply because nobody took 5 minutes to tell you how it works sooner. This material isn't calculus. It's not some abstract concept. It directly connects to the money you are earning and losing right now. Which brings us to section 2. Meet your AI coach. So how do we actually fix this huge systemic gap? Well, the AI Bridge Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, they recognized that the absence of clear explanations at the exact right moment is the real problem here. Their solution? No paywall, no trial period, no upsell. The whole shebang is just a completely free AI coach named Ari. The AI Bridge Foundation firmly believes that financial literacy should absolutely not be a privilege reserved for those who can afford expensive advisors. Their mission is to make this essential education accessible to everyone, especially the folks that the traditional system completely skipped over. Ari is quite literally designed to meet you exactly where you are. Now, this isn't some textbook you can just passively skim through while watching TV. This course is what they call a forcing function. Step 1, Ari puts a real-world scenario right in front of you. For example, Ari might say, okay, so you just got a $2,000 tax refund. Walk me through your options. Step 2, Ari actually waits for your specific answer. You can't just nod along, you have to genuinely have a conversation. There's no faking understanding here. And step 3, Ari adapts to how you learn. It forces you to think, just like having a one-on-one conversation with a really patient, brilliant human mentor. Moving right along to section 3, taking back your power.
Because once you stop passively skimming and start actively engaging with Ari, you start mastering the concepts that literally govern your life. We're talking budgeting, banking, credit, taxes, loans, investing. This right here covers 10 of the 15 total topics in the course. This is the exact stuff that determines whether your 30s are stable or just completely chaotic. It determines whether your 40s are spent building wealth or desperately trying to recover from past mistakes. It dictates whether retirement is something you actively plan for or, something that just sort of happens to you. You'd be shocked at how many financial rules we've all been blindly following for years. Always pay more than the minimum. Save 20% of your income. We parrot these phrases, but do we actually know why those numbers exist? Do they even apply to your specific, unique life situation? We sign up for financial products without reading the terms because, let's be real, they seem designed to be unreadable, and honestly, they usually are. But this course, it breaks that cycle completely.
The absolute core philosophy here is this. It's about having enough knowledge that nobody can take advantage of your confusion. The goal isn't to turn you into some Wall Street day trading expert. The goal is confident understanding. It's about looking at a loan agreement and actually truly knowing what you are signing. It's about understanding your paycheck well enough to spot when something is off. It's about making massive life decisions like buying a home or planning an education with actual solid information instead of just pure anxiety. So, I want to leave you with this stark final question. How much is your confusion costing you right now? The system benefits when you're guessing, but the knowledge you gain from this completely free, adaptable AI coach, you're going to use it every single week for the rest of your life. It's time to stop paying the hidden penalty of guesswork. And really, it just takes 15 conversations with Ari to change everything.